Let's Science is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
So, Caroline, this one's a really interesting one about, what did you call it? Shooting stars on the sun. Did I get that right?
That's right.
All right, tell us all about it.
Yeah, this was a cool one that caught my eye this week. So, yes, I'll be talking about shooting stars discovered on the sun. So a new phenomenon never seen on the sun's surface has been discovered by a team behind the European Space Agency's solar orbiter mission named SOLO. The discovery made from observations made when their orbiter first entered into its first perihelion, or which is the first time they reached the closest point in its orbit around the sun in 2022. This distance is about 1/3 of the distance between the Earth and the Sun, which is about 49 million kilometers. From this distance, the team were able to get a really good view and great detail of the solar corona, which is what they were studying. The phenomena that the team discovered has been described as shooting stars falling down onto the sun's surface, which is a star itself. Wow. Oh. So on Earth, we see shooting stars at night, but the shooting stars that we see on the Earth are caused when meteoroids or small pieces of rock and dust from asteroids or comets passing by, they hit the Earth's atmosphere, and the dust and particles burn up in the atmosphere in a process called ablation. As friction is created against the air particles in the atmosphere, heat caused by the friction vaporizes the meteoroids, and bright streaks of light are visible, hence why we call them shooting stars, because that's what they look like. They're shooting across the sky. The shooting stars observed on the sun, however, are quite different, and they are in part associated with coronal rain. In fact, coronal rain was actually hiding these shooting stars before they were recently discovered. But hang on.
Can I just say, let me try, hang on. Coronal Rain sounds like a song that Prince would have written. I'm just saying.
Maybe he came up with it.
Sorry, Prince just
purple
rain.
coronal rain.
About that,
anyway,
yeah.
So
anyway, yeah. So you said, but hang on, go on.
Yes. So apart from Prince's contribution there, what is coronal rain? Coronal rain is something created when the hot plasma in the corona cools and condenses. Now, this is cooling compared to the sun's own temperature, which is still really hot.
Yeah.
So the strong magnetic field on the sun pulls the cooler plasma back to the photosphere, and the photosphere is the surface of the sun that we're able to observe. So the hot plasma goes up, it slightly cools, and then condenses and pulls back down. During the observations made in 2022, not only did the European Space Agency team discover the shooting stars, but they also managed to capture the highest resolution of the coronal rain accompanying them.
Wow.
Now, back to the shooting stars. So the shooting stars on the sun, they sound so nice, shooting star, how pretty.
Yeah.
But actually, they're not as delicate as they sound. After all, the sun is a massive raging ball of plasma. These shooting stars have been described as meteor-like fireballs that can be as large as 250 kilometers wide.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yes.
Whoa.
You've just taken the romance right out of that.
Yes.
Ouch. Poor son.
Yes.
Yeah.
These fireballs are compressed plasma. They're compressed by the magnetic fields of the sun. They become clumps and they follow the magnetic fields to the sun's surface. The sun pulls them down at around 100 kilometers per second. So pretty fast.
That's pretty fast, yeah.
The heating and compression of the gas was observed of the plasma clumps creating the shooting stars. There was a spike of intensity and is created that indicates that the gas is heated up to 1,000,000 degrees, and this lasts for a few minutes while they fall back to the sun's surface.
Wow.
Can you imagine these massive clumps of plasma.
I mean, they're huge.
They're massive. It's just it's beyond what you can imagine.
Me.
Yeah.
The impact of these plasma clump shooting stars produce a brief but strong bright impact with upward surge of shock waves, and the gas above them then is reheated. But unlike the shooting stars on the Earth, there's no material stripped off the sun's shooting stars because of the magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
They mostly make it down to the sun intact, and the falling plasma is partially ionized and follows the magnetic field lines. These magnetic field lines act as giant tubes that funnel the gas down. The compression and the heat underneath prevents the shooting stars from producing tails, and this is why it's been a bit hard to discover them until now. So you don't really see them as obvious as the shooting stars on that we see on Earth.
Right.
Now, the project's lead, Patrick Antolin, says the inner solar corona is so hot we may never be able to probe it in situ with a spacecraft, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
However, Solo orbits close enough to the sun that it can detect small-scale phenomena occurring within the corona, such as the effect of the rain on the corona, allowing us precious indirect probe of the coronal environment that is crucial to understanding its composition and thermodynamics. Just detecting coronal rain is a huge step for solar physics because it gives us important clues about the major solar mysteries, such as how it is heated to millions of degrees.
Oh.
If humans were alien beings capable of living on the sun's surface, we would constantly be rewarded with amazing views of shooting stars, but we would need to watch out for our heads. 250-kilometer wide clumps falling from the sky doesn't sound so appealing.
Wow. Wow.
So there we have it. I have never heard of shooting stars on the sun. Obviously, it's
That's
new
amazing.
thing, and I didn't even know that there was called coronal rain. I mean, I've seen pictures of the magnetic fields and things like that. So I just thought this was really fun to learn about. And we hear about these solar probe missions being sent out to the sun, and it's just great to start now hearing about the things that they're discovering, and we're getting to know our sun better. And it's not just pretty pictures. It's actual beautiful, amazing science and amazing physics and thermodynamics and all of those amazing things that we know about. We can actually see it in action, and we're starting to be able to understand what actually is going on and the processes on the sun's surface. So, it's just the sun is just amazing. It's just one little star in the this whole universe, but there's so much to learn about it, and it's so exciting to see new science coming out of all of these missions. So
Cool.
For sure. Yeah. I remember when we were geeking out about the solar probes that, that was sent and everything, and talk about how they keep it cool even though it's so close to the sun and everything. And then, now it's giving us all this wonderful science. And obviously you learn about one star, it teaches about the characteristics of others, doesn't it? So
exactly.
It's an important thing. Yeah. Important science they're picking up. And I just love this idea of coronal rain, like shooting stars on the sun. Yeah. And some musician is going to come along and turn that into a song for sure. Like you can't have a phrase like coronal rain and not turn that into a song one day.
100%.
That's happening.
100%.
I guarantee within a year. Yeah. Maybe they'll write it at the synod. I don't know, but someone's going to do it. Yeah.
I mean, it's God's work, isn't it?
That's right. It's so inspired that it's going to,
Wow.
Excellent.
I'm just spellbound. Like, how big was those asteroids again, Caroline?
Oh, the clumps they could be up to 250 kilometers wide. I mean, this is no joke.
That is massive.
I mean, how big are the little particles that fall on the Earth? And but I don't want to see a 250-kilometer shooting star. Hot plasma falling towards me.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy to see them, but from far away, not close up. Just streak on by and keep going on your way. Yeah,
exactly.
Very cool.
It's great to see the sun absorbing the impact, and it's like, okay, what was it again? Sorry, Caroline. Does it hit the sun, or does it just hit the sun and just not evaporate?
It just falls back into the sun, and I guess it would get recycled and become part of the process again. But
cool.
Yeah, it's just the plasma is shot out, with with the magnetic fields, with the solar flares, I'm imagining, with the natural processes.
Mm-hmm.
But then they start to be, because the magnetic pull of the sun is so strong, it just pulls it back in.
Pulls them back in.
And it just goes back to the surface and it just
very
comes
cool.
back to the sun again. So amazing.
Wow.
Love it.
Oh, wow. It's amazing
right.
how they got that. It was, of course, we with a naked eye can't, of course, look at the sun.
No,
But
these solar
how
probes
they do
can,
it.
observe phenomena we haven't seen them before.
So
It's
good.
so good.
So
I mean,
good.
I remember seeing the first images of the sun when we were first getting access to, these kind of documentaries, and then the internet where we could go looking at, I used to follow that Soho probe, how they have the sun in the different wavelengths and you can see different characteristics of the sun. That just blew my mind. I used to love just looking. I did some paintings. I was just so inspired by it.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I remember. Yes.
And
Wow.
and now to be getting images up close by these, these solar missions, and just having all this amazing information, knowing now we're learning a bit of what's going on, because we really can't understand it all yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inspirational. It's just amazing.
Awesome.
Blows my mind.
Yeah. All right.
Sun science is the best.
Sun science. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show, Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science and find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy, The Secrets of Star Trek. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/Star Trek.